So it's dinner time, and my very patient mother carefully places the peas away from the rice and the pork chop on my plate. But despite her best efforts, some of the liquid from the vegetables seems like it's heading toward the rice. I'm 9, and I'm a pro at keeping everything on my plate separate. To solve this particular crisis, I use my fork to create a thin line of rice and move it to block the impending pea juice from its march across my plate. It's like a gastronomic moat, which shall remain uneaten. Now, as an adult, I thankfully outgrow the need to keep each dish distinct, but I still like to know what's going on with my food. I like to know how it's prepared, what's in it. I also, I like to plan my last bite, which means tasting everything on my plate, figuring out what's most delicious, and then carefully arranging those final morsels. So in 2005, I get invited to this all-expenses-paid trip to Berlin for a performing arts festival with a group of writers. One of the writers in our group is also a restaurant critic, so we defer to Steve when it comes to dining options. He tells us about this place called Das Dunkel Restaurant, which translates literally into the dark restaurant, as in no light whatsoever. I love traveling, in large part because of, culinary adventures and trying new things. So I say yes right away. This is so exciting. It's going to be like dinner by candlelight without the candles. I'm in. That was my first response. That was very impulsive. Kind of like when your friends are like, hey, let's all go on this brand new giant roller coaster. And you're like, yes, let's get on this brand new giant roller coaster. And then the safety bar locks into place and you find yourself going up a really huge hill very slowly. Chug, chug, chug. And that's when you remember, I don't really like roller coasters, but it's too late. On the appointed day, we arrive at this gorgeous courtyard. The sun is super bright, like Berlin summers are really intense, even at 8 o'clock. And we're greeted by Sandy, our server, a very lovely young German woman, greets us with a smile and explains in English how the night is gonna go. Chug, chug, chug. So, of course, we have to place our orders before we go into the dining room because it's pitch black. And Sandy, as all the servers at Das Dunkel are, Sandy is blind, so she's totally comfortable moving in complete darkness. And that makes us feel more comfortable, too, because we know we're going to be in expert hands. The menu is a Zen koan of absurdity. This is how they describe the soup course. With bright orange head, let's see, what is it? With bright orange head, he provides warm shelter for the fighter of the current. Yeah. So we have the option of vegetarian, poultry, river and sea, and beef. I choose river and sea. My main course? In maritime cocoon, he rests peacefully beside foreign riches, while the Mediterranean children of the strong and ambitious are dancing in the cornfield. So we're about to drop a pretty penny on a multi-course meal, and we don't even know what it is. We place our orders. Sandy has us put our hands on each other's shoulders, so we form this awkward conga line as she cheerfully guides us into the restaurant. Watch your step, turning right here. Okay, here is your table. Truthfully, I'm more excited than I am afraid, and I'm kind of wondering if taking away one of our senses, even briefly, will sort of heighten the others, like we'll suddenly get bionic smell or bionic hearing. We sit down. Sandy taps the center. I am making a sound on the table middle. That is the bread basket. Enjoy your food and have fun to find it. And she's gone. Whoosh. Just a test. I lift my hand, and I literally cannot see my hand in front of my face. The food arrives, and I quickly realize the only way I'm going to get something on the fork is just to put my hand in the plate and touch all of the food. Not only that, it's actually kind of hard to eat with a fork when you can't see. I mean, I know where my mouth is on my face, but I end up using two hands, one to hold the fork, the other to find the end of the fork and then guide it to my mouth without stabbing myself in the face. I look completely ridiculous. I feel embarrassed, except no one can see me. When you're friends with a food critic, part of the deal is that you're gonna order different dishes and then share. So we use a combination of echolocation and Marco Polo to navigate this process. I am holding my fork at nose height. I am turning the handle towards you. I am slowly reaching across the table toward, got it? Yes, success. So it's very clear that there will be no perfectly arranged final last bite for me. Instead, I start to hone in on the textures of the food, something fresh and crisp with bright acid, something soft with ridges, a chewy thing, a crunchy thing. And as we adjust to the darkness, something else interesting starts to happen. I can hear the servers milling about, the background music, the diners at other tables, but it's like this hush falls over our table. Instead of the usual banal small talk about flights and jet lag, we start sharing personal things about family and childhood memories and our secret aspirations. This really lovely intimacy infuses our table. We can't see each other's faces for verbal cues, so we drop our masks. No one feels compelled to be extra charming or entertaining. We listen. We actually listen. We speak thoughtfully. You know, it's as if we're kind of breathing together. And at the end of the day, it's not really about the food. It's not about the awkwardness of navigating the fork and the food. It's not even about the fact that someone has to personally escort me to pee. In a few days, I'll barely remember what I ate. And in a few years, I'll have trouble recalling the names of my dining companions. But I will never forget that floaty, warm, free sensation of all of us sitting together in the dark. Thank you. Thank you.